Ambrosia is one of those foods that, like, it's kind of good, but also kind of not. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone, thank you for coming on in, stopping on in today, sliding on through as we listen to the debut studio album by Ambrosia, perfectly and aptly named Ambrosia, released in 1975. We've listened to a track here or there from the band, their big hits, and a lot of you said travel back, click back through time into their debut album. And so today we are going to do so in checking this album out. First of all, I just want to say I love the album cover. It has a super trippy kind of feel to it. It's going to be a little blurry on my screen for you guys, but it just has a very like cool, trippy. There's probably a name for this effect. Like all these pieces are supposed to kind of start at the center and explode out. But I think that just looks cool. Anyways, some of you that had, I believe, recommended this album. I'm going to be honest. It's kind of hard to go into my comments, search Ambrosia to find who recommended this album specifically, but at least it was mentioned by Airshift, Spunks, Black Cat, Central Music, Bob Derwald, Porful Popnecker, Betsy, James Paiva, Bob Holtzman, Paul Collins, Melvin Womack, HK Linker, Elver Gobi, Danny Griffin, Steve Boris, Raymond Regis, Scotto, Terry Krasinski, JP Irad, Midnight Fury, Bob Holtzman again, Marabou, Bog Dog, Kyle Sop, Floofy Cats, It goes on and on and on. Rubber Soul, Steve Menard, Miss Prudy. This is a long list. Tracy, Ignatius. I'm scrolling. Like, you can't see, but I'm scrolling. Just keeps going. Jane Leonard, Jim Bricker. Thank you all so much for what I can only assume is the suggestion here. I know that's even looking at it, we have some feature or tracks that feature Mr. Alan Parsons as well. I also see that he's producing this album. If I remember, he mixed it. Yep. Okay, I see it mixing here. Okay. Anyways, with all that said and done, before we dive into it, I always got to say, first of all, grab something to drink, grab something to eat, just something to sip on. Oh, almost messed up the toast. We got to wait till before we do that. If you want, support what I do over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you can. You can also find some exclusive videos over there. The Buy Me a Coffee, if you want to jump in line with a song request, you can do so over there. But I take requests from everywhere, as this one is from comments. So I'm just taking it. And press the like button before we dive in. Now, without further ado, relax, take an inhale, take an exhale. We're going to dive into the album, have a good time. I just happen to see the last track is said drink of water. If that is your drink of choice today, do so. Keep yourself hydrated. But for myself personally, at this exact moment, I'm going to sip on, what if I spilled this on my keyboard? That would actually be horrible. I'm going to sip on some Earl Grey black tea. I love black tea of any sort. Mix that with some orange as well. You have a good time. Okay. That's all I have to say. If you have anything to say, comment section is down there. But without further ado, my friends, let's go ahead and dive on into the first track here, which is going to be Nice. Very nice. I love the name. Let's go ahead and let it run. We'll talk about it after. And as always, my friends, this sip of Earl Grey black tea is to you. Snapped and locked into the groove there. I like that.
Oh, a sleeping trumpet up in Central Park, or the lion hunter in the jungle dark, or the Chinese dentist, or the British Queen.
Trill.
They are fit together in the same machine. Nice, nice, very nice, 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 very nice. So many people in the same divide.
We're all in the world together, man.
Oh, a whirling dervish and a dancing bear,
I love his roles
or
there.
a ginger rajas and a Fred Astaire, or the teenage rocker, or the girls in France. Yes, we all are partners in this cosmic dance. Nice,
That's the truth.
nice, very nice, 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 very nice. So many people in the same
This part sounds like early Yes. Like second album Yes.
all things to make sense, so we'd be happy instead of dead.
I love how they bring it up and then calm me right back down.
Sleeping, sleeping drunkards up in Central Park, or the lion hunter in the jungle dark,
Or just little kids hard.
or the Chinese dentist, or the British queen. They are fit together in the same machine.
Love the harmonies as well.
Nice, nice, very nice, 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 very nice. So many people
backwards,
in the
yeah.
same device. So many people in the same device.
What fills in there? Pressing drum. Let's bring it right back down. I love the horns coming through. March towards the end. That's cool. That's triumphant. I would have loved for that to have like exploded off. It's really nice how this ending here. Just drop my thing. That was a great opening track. Their debut album, this is the first track you hear, and I think it covers a lot of different bases. You can clearly hear Parsons' like influence, I guess, in here. The song is catchy. Nice, nice, very nice, 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 very nice. And then it goes straight into the other chorus there, like the second part. I think that's very catchy. It's melodic, but then also it's playfully progressive in the way that everything is performed. Talk about your alliteration. David Pack, P's, you heard all the P's. David Pack on the guitar, lead and backing vocals, and later on keyboards, but not here. Great voice, great catchy melodies. The way he delivers, I just like what he's doing there, and the way that he like sings is just, it's very like inviting, not in a warm campfire kind of way, but in a he's the life of the party. Like, come on, like very charismatic. The way he draws everyone in, I would say. Christopher North on the keyboards. I love. Okay, let me bring them back together. Christopher North with David Pack, keyboards and guitar. The keyboards are so flittery and flirty and fun. They're those synthy tones that I really like that just sound playful. That's what I hear when I hear that sound that North is playing. It's just jolly and playful, just like having a great time. This is the kind of prog or pop prog or whatever. This is the kind of music that doesn't take itself overly seriously, and yet the proficiency is obvious. You know, it's there. This isn't a Van de Graaff generator where there's like a deep, poetic, resounding message of, you know, universal whatever. No, this is something a little bit lighter, but has similar, you know, technique behind it. I love that. Puerta on the bass, and then Burley Drummond on the drums. I really enjoyed the drumming. Very snappy, and the movement of this track went from, you know, those high highs in the chorus and such into like the lows of the verse, for example, where it's much more subtle, much more calm and relaxed. And then even in the breaks of the music, as it would go back and forth between those higher highs and those lower lows, there was always a lot of diversity and a lot of momentum. And I think that was always captured by the drumming from Drummond. What I thought was perhaps some sax in here. I'm assuming it's actually going to be Drummond, who's also handling the bassoon in this album, which I think is fantastic. There were some horns in here and sounds like that, which I can only assume was either him or North on the synths, replicating those sounds. And then I like the little acoustic ending at the very end of this track, which it may very well do so. It sounded like it was possibly going to lead towards the next track, but there was a little bit more of a fade out. So we'll have to see if that was just a tacked on acoustic outro, or if that was something kind of leading and hinting towards what's to come next. I also really, really love the climax of this track near the ending, just before that acoustic break, when North and Pack were kind of together, like rushing towards a final head between the keyboards and the guitar. I love the keys at that particular moment. The synth was just blazing. And then it went back down to like that marching. It kind of brought all the energy down and went to that marching tone, which, while separately it sounded good, man, I would have really liked for those horses to like just have raced across the finish line, just like blazing saddles through the finish line, instead of kind of like, you know, the soft step and the soft tread towards the end. Because that climax was like huge, and I would have liked for a big explosion after that, but that's just me. Let's get to these lyrics. So a nice positive twist here. Oh, a sleeping drunkard up in Central Park, or the lion hunter in the jungle dark, or the Chinese dentist, or the British queen. They all fit together in the same machine. Nice, very nice, very nice. So many people in the same device. Listen, we're all here on the same planet, trying to make it through, trying to enjoy a little bit of life. We're all in the same machine, the same device. Or a whirling dervish and a dancing bear, or a Ginger Rogers and a Fred Astaire, or a teenage rocker or the girls in France. Yes, we are all partners in this cosmic dance. I wanted all things to make sense, so we'd be happy instead of tense. I like that. Then it repeats from there. Very clear-cut message here. You know, we're all people here in the same machine, just trying to make it through life. You know, no matter what different walks of life we may come from, and what different corners of the world we come from. And that's in the modern era now, that's kind of the beauty of, you know, online connectivity and social media. That's the good side. Obviously, there's a lot of negatives. We're not focusing on that today in this particular instance, but that is, you know, a huge part of the beauty of it all. You know, I'm in Orlando, Florida, sitting here just listening to music, discovering a new album with you guys listening. And for you, you are in a completely different corner of the world, corner of, you know, wherever you are, and you're living your own life. And that's the beauty of the online connectivity. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the next track here, which is going to be Time Waits for No One. Not Tom Waits for No One. Time Waits. Here we go. Winding up that clock. It's a nice atmosphere kind of build up. Snare and side stick. Some very skillful guitar playing there.
You're certain it's not the wrong day. Punctual people are lost in their flight to become unprecedented when they arrive. Why am I searching?
We're gonna talk.
I know all the years that I've waited with nothing to show. I'm ready to win, but I can't wait much longer before we begin. Time waits for no one. Time waits for
We gotta talk about this one. The guitar spotting in between this.
It's time to conceive it and time to expire. Though the time quick the two tells the tale that transpires. So why must we continually disturb the universe with decisions and revisions which a minute will reverse? So people don't worry about where you've gone wrong, because you know if you hurry, it takes twice as long. Relax and forget about what's to be done. It's time to have fun.
Guys, this was one of, like, in recent times, this is one of my, like, immediate favorite songs that I've heard that just immediately captures me immediately. Time Waits for No One. That's an incredible track. The first track was nice, very nice. This track is on another level. There is so much happening. So much happening in every respect. The beginning, starting you off, of course, winding up the clock. Remember when you had to do that? And it very subtly builds into everything. It locks in rhythm with that clock. I love that, with that watch. And eventually the bass comes in with it. It creates this really nice atmosphere. But boy, the way that it progresses from there, it's energetic, it's fast, it just has a lot going for it. And then the times where it I'm even stuttering. The times where it pulls back and time, and the harmony is coming, time. Like, it is, I think that is such a sensational moment. That is truthfully when you are, like, if you were in a car and you're driving very fast, of course, you're going a certain speed. And then, no, take out, let's do another analogy. You're on a roller coaster. You're like, no, even better. I'm trying to think. Tower of Terror. If you've ever seen Tower of Terror or like one of those, I don't know what they're called, the drop kind of rides. There's those moments where it goes up and it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. The speed of this track and the energy is those fast moments where it's going up and down. And the moments where the music slows down, that's almost where it's like you have that zero gravity kind of feel. Like when it goes up and it stops, it hovers, and then it drops again. That's when your stomach you feel all that. That is like such a sensational track. I feel like the fan might be blowing into the microphone, so I'm just going to briefly move it. But this track has such diversity and interesting direction in the way that it moves. It moves like a helicopter. Kind of omnidirectional in a sense. Just moving some things. Don't mind me. Okay, that might be better. It just is, it feels very omnidirectional in the way that this track moves. I think that this was such a cool track. Singing is off the charts. Like I said, with those harmonies, guitar playing. Is Pac, is he known for being like a noteworthy guitarist? Because at least just from the very quick way that he's playing here, it sounds very skillful the way he handles the guitar. And I think that, I mean, at least just from what I'm hearing, is very, very noteworthy. Puerta on the bass. I love how much he stood out here. And I'm going to say something, and I'm curious as to what you guys think as well. I mentioned it in the first track, but in this track, I have to say it even clearer. This is reminding me of early Yes. I'm thinking their debut, Time in a Word, like right in that era there. This is kind of putting me in that same like scenario. Beautiful harmonies from everyone involved in the band. Skillful guitar playing, like kind of how. Skillful bass playing, right? Kind of like Chris. And then like the drum, like everything is just give me a same kind of sound and feeling. Even up to the kind of positive melodies and the uplifting nature of the music. This is absolutely giving me that. This was such a cool track. I'm gonna add this onto my playlist for myself personally. And then I'm actually really curious. There we go. I'm just curious. I'm going to call some of you out because some of you possibly deserve to be called out. Time Waits for No One. Ambrosia. I'm doing a search in my comments to see if anyone's ever recommended this track. I got 4 of you. 4 of you popped up immediately. Oh, you don't believe me? Here you go. You can see what I see. 4 of you popped up immediately. Rich Psalm. Gene Leonard. Bob Holtzman. Gene Leonard again. I never do this. I don't usually do this, but some of you are going to be asking like, why is JP replying to my comment from 4 years ago? No one's mentioned this track in 4 years. There may be more. Listen, there may have been more, but that's snap how I can find some of you. This was a fantastic track. I want to listen to this again right now. I'm not going to, but I would love to listen to this again right now. Hurry up, get along, be on your way, and make sure that you're certain it's not the wrong day. Punctual people are lost in their plight to become unprecedented when they arrive. Why am I searching and when will I know are the years that I've waited with nothing to show. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to win. But I can't wait much longer before we begin. Time waits for no one. Listen, there's a lot of time happening here. Hurry up, take your time, search this, search that. But listen, time, it waits for no one. So you got to get on with it. Can't be waiting with nothing to show. There's time to conceive in and time to expire. Though the time twixt in between, the two tells the tale that transpires. There you go. There's a beginning, there's an end, but it's the time in between that tells the tale. So why must we continually disturb the universe with decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse? So people don't worry about where you've gone wrong, because you know if you hurry, it takes twice as long. Relax and forget about what's to be done. It's time to have fun. YOLO. Enjoy your life. Enjoy time. And I skipped it, but the very end, it really doesn't matter much to me. I know the best times are timeless. You'll see. That invitation. I'm curious about one more thing. I just have to take a quick look because this song. Wow. There's a lot of people that have a song apparently called Time Waits for No One. The Rolling Stones have a song. The Jacksons. Freddie Mercury, apparently. I mean, I'm looking for Ambrosia. Not any of these bands at this moment. 1976. 1976. Just dropping the bomb. He's having so much fun there. I don't even know. This is quite an intro, I'll tell you that. I love how he's taking the drink of water and, of course, emulating water sounds. They're just having a fun time here. By the way, this better not give me any sort of copyright issue. He's acting like in the clocks, the little characters in the clocks that come out at every hour. I see what you're doing. I see. I get it. Look at the strut. What are they writing? I wonder what he was writing. They're jamming. They're doing a nice long jam here before they go into it. A long jam. Extended intro. had to come together.
Hurry up, get along, be on your way, and make sure that you're certain it's not the wrong day. Don't you where people are lost in their plight to become unprecedented when they are right.
That note is great.
Why am I searching and when will I know? All the years that I've waited, nothing to show. Ready to listen, I'm ready to win, but I can't wait much longer. Before we begin, yeah. Time waits for no one. Time waits for no one. No one.
That's good. I mean, we're halfway through or more. We might as well just watch the whole thing if you don't mind. As long as you're okay with it. But like I said, this better not give me any copyright issues.
Time to conceive and time to expire. Though the time twitch the two tells the tale that transpires. Why must we continually disturb the universe with decisions and revisions which should never will reverse? People don't worry about where you've gone wrong, 'cause you know if you hurry, it takes twice as long.
I love that part, by the way. The little party that happened.
Forget about what's to be done. Time to have fun.
This is where I can't follow.
Jose Cuervo.
This little party that happened in the track was so fun. And I love how they acted out on stage. They're just chilling. Fantastic drumming there. There he goes.
Time waits for no one. Time waits for no one.
Sweet note.
Really doesn't matter much to me, 'cause I know the best times are timeless. You see, yeah.
That is so good. Oh, man. That was good. That's a great track. That's good. I'm glad I discovered that. All right. We're going to move on to the next track, which is Hold On to Yesterday. But before I do so, I'm just going to close my door really quick. Give me 1 second. Just moving the cat food outside so the cat has her food. And now you and I can continue from where we left off. Let's go ahead and listen to the next track here, which is Holding On to Yesterday. Boom. How come they start off so good already? Organs.
Well, I keep holding on to yesterday. I keep holding on enough to say that I'm wrong. I keep thinking that I'm lonely, but it's only missing you inside. Days that we were once together seems we'll never come alive. So I keep holding on to yesterday. I keep holding on enough to say that it's wrong. Lord, I don't know when I'll see you. I can't reach you anymore. Well, if I'd only known I need you, then I'd keep you like before.
Hey.
I keep holding on to yesterday. I keep holding on enough to say that I'm wrong to keep holding on. My yesterdays have all gone by.
You know, it's just weird to me that I've been doing this channel for like, what, 6 years or however many years now, and like no one told me about this album. No one told me a thing about this album. Oh, that was bliss. That's a 5 out of 5 to me. That I just added a track onto the playlist with the previous track. Do I have to do the same thing? I gotta add it to another playlist. I have to add it to the playlist. That is that slow brewed, deep, soulful playing guitar. The solos are crying out passionately. It's that slow molasses romantic-ish kind of tone and rhythm that just pulses. The organ beneath it all, powerful, incredibly powerful. Violin performed by Daniel Kobialka on here as well. Great, sensational, very climactic, especially there at the end. But I really love that organ, the way it was playing. And then there's the moments where it drops out and you get a little bit of nothing. And then, but every time it comes back, that organ pushes it where it needs to be pushed. Worked on the bass, just providing a really nice emotional backdrop to everything. Northern Pack are packing and Northern on here. Sensational singing. Once again, those harmonies to me are just ever blissful. That is the big old B word that I can think of when listening to this track. Absolutely worthy of being on my playlist. And I see here that apparently it's a single from the album as well. We'll look at that information in just a moment. But before we do so, let's take a look at these lyrics. Well, I keep holding on to yesterday. I keep holding on enough to say that I'm wrong. A little bit of self-reflection, a little bit of self-honesty in the situation. I keep thinking that I'm lonely, but it's only missing you inside. Days that we were once together seems they'll never come alive. So I keep holding on to yesterday. I keep holding on enough to say that it's wrong. So now it's changed. Before he was taking a little self-heat, little responsibility. Now he's saying it's wrong. The whole situation. Lord, I don't know when I'll see you. I can't reach you anymore. If I'd only known I need you, then I'd keep you like before. Then he goes on and keep holding on to yesterday just enough to say that I'm wrong to keep holding on. My yesterdays have all gone by. Talk about another yes connection with yesterday's. But like, the lyrics are fine. They're good. You know, I'm wrong. You know, he's taking the blame. He's taking responsibility. And he's saying, you know, I have some regrets, but, you know, I'm going to keep on holding on, right? Even though holding on to yesterday may not be healthy. You got to let go of yesterday and move on to tomorrow. Let's look at some of the info on this track. It says the song was released in the spring of 75 as the lead single, peaking at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was also a top 40 hit in Canada and New Zealand. And here you see the chart information with what we just mentioned there. That is just a brilliant track. That feels really, really good. And you guys aren't able to see this, but on my end on Spotify, it's definitely the most streamed track on this album at 12 million currently. Much deserved. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. That is just a feel good track. That's a feel something track. Let's move on into the next one, which is World Leave Me Alone. After holding on to yesterday, he's letting go and he's saying, everybody else leave me alone. Well, we got straight out of the smoothness into the bluesness.
But I won't say I've never seen I've never been a star, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be
He's got some attitude to this.
But I was reading the Bible, but too seldom do I need Well, I disregard the writing and I play just what I feel. So what do I care?
I love that.
Let the world leave me alone. I've been a truthful man, but I won't say I never lied. I've always had a plan, but somehow it never was applied. Never got my shit been denied. I ain't greedy, but I ain't gonna take what rightfully is mine.
It's a good solo here. I like that.
All I really want is something that I do not have to share. Hide it under lock and key so they'll never see or they'll never know. And let someone else be responsible, not the way they know. People try to tell me I'm a dreamer, wasting everybody else's time.
Also got very spacey there.
Moving all around, I'm just a schemer, getting into everybody's way. Let the world leave me alone. Let the world leave me alone. Let the world leave me alone.
Love those drum fills in there. Oh, that's it. I was not paying attention to the time at all. Okay, this one, it also ends this side of the album. Forgot to mention that. And we end with the bang, right? After the smoothness of Holding On and then the great track of the previous one. Like, this one brings the rock back into this progressive pop rock kind of sound that they have. And it's nice because it brings in that kind of bluesy progression. I love that riff. Bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, ga, ba, ga, ba, bum, ga, bum, bum, ba, ga, ba, ga, bum. It's a very catchy riff with, once again, some sensational vocals. The delivery is a little bit more spicy in this one, a little bit more forward. I don't want to say aggressive, but of course there's a little bit more of an outward showing, I would say, from David's vocals here on this one. But still, even as the landscape and the tones change on this particular track, you still have the same things that we've enjoyed from the previous tracks, or I hope that you've enjoyed. I've enjoyed from the previous tracks. You still have some harmonies, especially on the back end, that come in very nicely. After that little break where it kind of gets spacey for a moment, that's when the music kind of changes. You get a little solo that comes out of that, and that's like when I said those vocals come in. So it kind of changes the track and softens it up, but not enough to lose its edge. And I love those drum fills from Drummond over there in the back half of the track, just bringing a big, big sound there. Like, this is a nice way to end this particular side of the album. Especially, like, they've given you some nice contrast, right? The previous track was very smooth. This one gives you a little bit of edge, a little bit of something to cut your teeth on. Where are we going next? So I'm one way to find out. But before we do that, let's take a look at these lyrics. I've never been a thief, but I won't say I'll never steal. I've never been a star, but that doesn't mean I don't appeal. I always read the Bible, but too seldom do I kneel, while I disregard the writing and I play just what I feel. He's just doing what he wants. Listen, I'm doing what I want, leave me alone. So what do I care? Why should I care? All I really want is something more than you can order. From a telephone, if they call, I'm not at home. So write it off as another loss and let the world leave me alone. Let the world leave me alone. I've been a truthful man, but I won't say I've never lied. I've always had a plan, but somehow it has never applied. Never got my share of loving, I've always been denied. I ain't greedy, but I aim to take what is rightfully mine. He's a little bit of a walking contrast, a little bit of a contradiction in many ways. But at the end of the day, he's saying, listen, leave me alone. All I really want is something that I do not have to share. Hide it under lock and key so they'll never see. When I was a kid, like, I don't know how old I was, but when I was like a kid, like, below 10 years old, I had a Nintendo 64. And anytime my cousins would come from like New York or like somewhere else, also younger than me, when you're a kid, you don't want other kids playing with your stuff. Maybe when you're an adult, you don't want other people playing with stuff. And I used to unplug my Nintendo 64 and tell them that it wasn't working so that they couldn't play it. when they came down here. And then when everybody went to sleep at night, I'd plug that thing back in. And I start playing Banjo-Kazooie. People try to tell me I'm a dreamer, wasting everyone else's time, moving all around. I'm just a schemer, getting in everybody's way. Leave me alone, world, leave me alone. let us flip this album. Let us move on into the next track on side 2, which is going to be Make Us All Aware. Here we go. It's starting to rain outside a little bit. Is that a long fade in? There it is. It's an interesting effect with the panning.
Hail to the mountains, my existence seems sad as the cry of my unanswered dreams. Long have I waited for time to make clear all of the reasons that I must be here. But I won't care if you are there. Make us all Drawn by the river, we watch as it flows, wanting to taste of the wisdom it holds,
It's really nice.
knowing that somewhere our fortunes will find.
Great multi-part harmony there.
But fortunes are something we hold in our mind.
Let's see, it goes to the straight 4 and floor, I think. Yeah.
Could share
They give you everything.
all that's there. Make us all
Marching. Little harpsichord kind of sound. That's a nasty synth. He's growing up.
seeking an answer yet harboring
It's a very
fear
theatrical side to this.
that the day that it comes I'll no longer be here. But I won't care if you are there. I won't care. Make us all, Lord. I won't care. Make us all aware.
Hear the bass line with the ride. That's a really cool track. I love how great the band is at taking these different sections of music and bringing them all together with something to like bind them all together. Here, the piano from North is to me the star, especially in the first half. But then as the band comes in with more full sounds, like he's still the star, but everyone's kind of surrounding him with love and music and melody. I love the little harpsichord-like sound that he brings in about in the middle. And the actual progression in the music, the structure of it, I think feels really good. So you have, the singing from David and, of course, Christopher North on the piano. And I like how they carry the verse. It's a very emotional, kind of balladry kind of sound. Da, 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 da. And there's a nice little progression of that melody, right? Which eventually, Puerta on the bass is going to also perform, which I really like because that's such a nice melodic and flowing kind of progression. Then eventually you'll also have those multiple part harmonies that come in and start to fill around that. So to me, it kind of captures, this is just how my mind works, it kind of captures the majestic nature and size of a mountain. Something in a sense simple, it's a rock, but it's just as majestic and beautiful as it is. And I think that they kind of capture something similar here with the music. Like I said, there's those little, to me, classical flavors in there, like that harpsichord sound and the way that he performs there. And I like how in the progression of the verse, how it moves from that balladry, sparse instrumentation, no drums, into the fourth floor. And then it just explodes from there. Like, that's just gorgeous the way that this track moves. And it still has a lot of little progressive flair in there, in different moments in the way that it plays. I thought the drums also were really nice, like the snappiness of them, the grandeur in certain moments where they're being played. Just a really, really great track. This is a cool album to listen to. Like, it's chill, but it's interesting. It's catchy, but it catches your attention. It just hits a lot of good notes, I would say. Pale to the mountains, my existence seems, sad as the cry of my unanswered dreams. Long have I waited for time to make clear all of the reasons that I must be here. Listen, everyone goes through it. He's just searching for himself, his purpose, his truth. He says, he is pale in comparison to, of course, the grandeur of a mountain. But at the same time, there must be a reason he's here. But I won't care if you are there. Make us all aware. Drawn by the river, we watch as it flows, wanting to taste of the wisdom it holds, knowing that somewhere our fortunes we'll find, but fortunes are something we hold in our minds. He's searching outwardly for fortune, for riches in some capacity, but the reality is you got to find it inside. We could share all that's there, make us all aware, seeking an answer yet harboring fear that the day that it comes, I'll no longer be here. He's saying, I won't be here when this truth, whatever it may be, is revealed. But I won't care if you are there. I won't care. Make us all, I won't care. Make us all aware. I feel like this is his plea to a God, deity, anything of that nature. And he's saying, like, I don't care if you are there, but make us all aware. Make us all perhaps find ourselves or help us all in some capacity. Even if he's not around to partake in it, at least help all of humanity in some capacity. Let us move on into the next track here, which I don't know why I said it like a Kentucky accent. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be Lover Arrive. Why am I doing that? Foghorn Leghorn.
Take me on wings into your heart. Find a new star.
Sounds like Mellotron to me. That's good.
Remember the days we'd run away,
Some harp.
laughing among all the fields. looked at me, and all I could see were your eyes shining so real. Oh, lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie.
Nice switch to the organ. That's a nice little tone switch.
Lover arrive, lover arrive. Take me from here into your heart.
I love that little dip.
Then we can start.
That was a really cool piece of music. I really like the slightly darker sound that they go for here, a little bit more melancholic, still this forlorn love. And they've sang of love before in this album before, but I like how it's approached here. You have some harp apparently, some mellotron sounds in the back, bringing in different sounds, taking out the drums besides timpani that's being played there, and kind of giving it a little bit more of a solitude, isolated kind of sound. Really enjoyed how that was performed. I love the sensitivity with which he sings in here as well. I love the switch as he gets into the climax of the track into the organ. And that's when it gives it even a little bit of a darker turn as well, even more so, before it dramatically pulls things back down and then closes the curtain. I also think it's kind of interesting that this track, this definitely sounds completely different from everything before. This is a very much emotional, bare bones kind of song. And it is the shortest track on the album, and it comes before the two longest tracks on the album, which are coming up next at 6 minutes pretty much each. So I think that that's kind of cool how this track kind of feels in isolation, like a little bit of an emotional intermission before moving on to what I can only imagine based on the duration of the tracks are going to be the biggest tracks on the album. But really, really lovely and really wonderfully played. And the harmonies from the rest of the band, I think, are just so wonderfully enveloping in this particular track. I have the wrong lyrics up because I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics, to be honest. So I was just listening. Lover arrive, take me on wings into your heart. Find a new start. Lover arrive, take me from here into your soul. We can be whole. Remember the days we'd run away, laughing among all the fields. You looked at me and all I could see were your eyes a shining so real. Lover arrive, take me from here into your heart. Then we can start. So you got to be here first, and then the actual relationship, then the life forward, then everything else can start. Simple, beautiful, a hearkening to romance and love and the future, whatever that may hold. Hopefully love in this particular case, but I think it's very sweetly and poetically done. Now, I don't know what this is going to be, but I love the track or the title of this next track, Mama Frog. Let's dive on in. This is going to be some fairy tale stuff. Let's find out.
The clock gets to be such a bore. What you living for? I can't explain being sane. Just a gym and short lot to go.
Almost sounds Gentle Giant-esque. Nice drumming there.
Past the gate you will soon
almost a jazzy progression on the rhythm side of things. This is the prog track. It's that squirky kind of synth tone. Who's narrating this?
He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, whiffling through the tulgey wood.
This is so
burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack.
Is that Vincent Crane?
Dead, and with its head went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my fiendish boy. Oh, rapture stay, Kaloo-Kalay, chortled in his joy. 'Twas brig, and the slimy toes did guile and gimble in the wabe. Oh, mimsy of the barracles, and the bone wraths of grape.
I think that is so cool what the band's done there.
Hit me right between the eyes. It is me the hard stuff. I can smell hard up there. Now, my God, you gotta be in the hard.
Oh, it's gone into a... Oh, that's cool. What a delightfully strange track that was. That is delightfully strange. If you were to come into the debut album and you're like, it sounds nice, you know, the instrumental is nice, but they're still singing about love and this and that and the stuff that you would hear later on in the career. This is the track where they're like, hey, we can play, you know, prog and stuff like that with the best of them and dive into some weird stuff. You know, obviously Alice in Wonderland references in the story here, fighting the Jabberwocky and stuff. I've never read Alice in Wonderland, by the way, so I know that that's what it's referencing, but I couldn't tell you like what's happening or whatever. But I think that it's so cool that they bring in such a, you know, perfectly quirky story with so much strangeness to it and incorporate that into their track and then actually make the track a little bit more abstract, right? Abstract. Get it? I was trying to like an abstract track, abstract.
Please clap.
But I think that's so cool. And there was already drama happening from the beginning, from the first half and the way that this track bookends this Alice in Wonderland section, because it reminded me a lot of Gentle Giant in the way that they set up everything. Yeah, we're missing some classical instruments, some, you know, cellos and flutes and oboes and harpsichords and all these other things that they bring in, mandolin, whatever. But it makes up for that while still capturing that kind of progressive, dramatic tone in the music, you know. The driving force of it. I love the rhythm section here. It has a little bit of a jazzy tone to it. Talking about the bass and the drums. Just the progression of it. It sounds almost like a stand-up bass, the way that he's playing it. But when it gets into this Alice in Wonderland section, that's when they kind of go off and more create a sonic background for this story and this narration to take place. And by the way, I think I mentioned, I know I mentioned it, during the narration, I think I mentioned Vincent Crane. I don't know why I mentioned him, because that is not who I'm thinking of. But there's someone else who's very famous, it's before my time, who's very famous for their narration, and especially when it comes to, like, you know, thrillers and horror-themed kind of things. And I don't know why. I think the first name was Vincent, though. But I don't know who it was. But I'm very curious to see who's narrating this part, because what a great reading, what a great voice they have. Commands the room. And this section there, of course, just details this particular fight that's happening. The clock gets to be such a bore. What you living for? Though I can't explain, being sane's just a dreary chore. All right, everyone's mad here. I'd like to go fly past mountains, see Mama Frog at her fountain. She'll be there in her golden frog, sequined uniform, golden tree, 3 trained human clowns who will soon perform, balancing books with their heads, trying to recall what they've said. Past the gate, you will soon be in a garden paradise. Don't be there late. Don't be late there. The shining jewels sparkle in your eyes, all waiting there for your pleasure. What's keeping you from treasure? And then here's where you have that narration that happens, which I'm imagining, like I said, since I've not read Alice in Wonderland, I couldn't tell you the specifics, but I know that the Jabberwock is some sort of, I don't know, I think like a dragon or something like that, and you have to use the Vorpal blade to kill it, which happens here. And of course, the lyrics just repeat from there. So a little bit of Alice in Wonderland in the album. I love how they incorporate this, though, into it. Like, I like how they didn't just, you know, lyrically stick to what they've been doing. They explore a little bit. Why not? Why not? Let us move on into the final track of the album, which, since I'm appropriately out of tea, let's go ahead and drink some water. Here we go. Jeez. Okay. Big ending. We're back. Organ snapping back into it? Oh, I thought they were going to get it. guitar solo.
I set out on a long and lonely journey, traveled through some strange and distant land, and many times I thought if I lost meaning, but it slipped away like water in the sand. Do you like where you're living at? I'm not happy inside. You could build a broken house, but still I'd say here inside.
Nice push into the falsetto. I like it. That's a deep bass. I gotta relax after this. So why not?
One summer storm, I'm waiting for the sun. One summer storm, I've waited so long. Waited so long.
Just like it began.
In our lives, we've all drank of the water and heard the ocean calling out our names. Some will seek and find their life's meaning. Some will turn their heads the other way.
That's how you close an album. That's how you close an album. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Ambrosia, I may not love the food, but that's how you close the album. That's how you close the album. They didn't do a quiet build up into the conclusion, into the final, into the final track. They didn't do some start down here on the runway and we'll volume our way up. No, they smacked you. Bah! They smacked you right in the face and said, "May I offer you a drink of water, sir?" They smacked you in the face with that big opening. Organ taking a huge precedence here, taking huge presence, I should say, in here. Just holy, right? The organ, the choir of voices from the band just immediately grants you this big spiritual kind of sound, and it's massive, and it, like I said, it just overwhelms you there. That is absolutely brilliant. I love how they throw that up there in the front, and then just a few bars later, they immediately cut it all back and bring it back to something very soft, hitting the side of the snare. Just a little stick, a little click, and it just goes from there. This singing, I think this is Pax's best performance, and he's had some really great performances through this album, but his performance here is sensational, shiver-inducing, goosebump-inducing. He truly pushes himself. You can hear him pushing himself in this track. That one note where he starts off already at a high soaring note, and then he gives it just one little push into that falsetto to give it just that much more power just for that brief moment. Absolutely incredible. The keyboards, obviously I've been talking about the organ, but just brilliant here. The guitar solos, drumming and bass. Everything comes together to a wonderful head and climax with this track, Drink of Water. Such a simple name, Drink of Water, but I think we all feel musically hydrated after listening to this. This was a sensational send-off for their debut album. This was a really fantastic album to listen to. I'm really impressed with how it's kind of all come together on here. Someone talks about a road at the end, find life's gold. I went out to get a drink of water, but I saw an ocean far away. I thought of how much beyond awaits me. Foolishly, I turned my head the other way. Said, not now. Do you like where you're living at? I'm not happy inside. You could build a golden house, yeah, but still, I'm sad inside. The things outside aren't going to fix the things inside. I set out on a long and lonely journey and traveled through some strange and distant lands, and many times I thought I'd found life's meaning, but it slipped away like water in the sand. Do you know where you're living at? I like how he asked, do you know where you're living at? Do you know where you are? Not literally, of course, not physically, do you know where you are? But internally, do you know where you are? For yourself personally, in life. One summer storm, I'm waiting for the sun. One summer storm, I've waited so long. And sometimes it is going to take some time. In our lives, we've all drank of the water, heard the ocean calling out our names. Some will seek and find their life's meaning, and some will turn their heads the other way. It's like my grandma used to say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. I think probably a lot of people's grandmas, just people have said that, but that's where I've heard it in my life. Anyway, this was a really fun album to listen to. I thoroughly enjoyed this. If you couldn't tell my favorite tracks, then you didn't watch the video, but this was such a sensational album, and to get 2 tracks to toss them into my playlist. I'm really excited to listen specifically to Time Waits and Hold On to Yesterday once again, just for myself personally, because those were such fantastic tracks. And the way they come in one after the other was just a brilliant kind of twofer at that particular moment. This was good. This is a good recommendation. And you know what's funny? Clearly in this album, you can hear, obviously their beginnings, a little bit more of a progressive sound. Then, of course, their later music and where they would go, as is often the case, right? But they were still doing their catchy melodies. They were still having their choruses and their pop moments in this album. But man, the musicianship around it was just so excellently well done. I enjoyed that. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Hope that you guys did as well. Please, please, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. You can, of course, support what I do over on Patreon. You can help me out over and buy me a coffee. You can skip the line, so to speak, with song request. And yeah, press the like button before you go. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, about an hour and a half here as we round it out. And hopefully I will see you all tomorrow. I have to sneeze. If you hear me sneezing during the credits, you know what happened. Because I just told you. And you'll hear it. I don't know if I will. Oh, there it is.